In some ways, this is kind of the culmination of several different photo exercises that I've done and posted here recently. This is the same setup, in fact, as last week's photo in a different location. And it's just a single object, like a single subject sitting on top of a glass surface, a reflective surface. And in fact, it's the same reflective surface as last week's photo. And in the background behind it is crumpled up aluminum foil. What I find so satisfying about this photo is the colors and the little glimpse into this tiny world that you have with this Christmas ornament. This was such a fun picture to take. And I think in some ways, like, this is the picture that I wanted to take that I didn't know I wanted to take when I got my macro lens. It was something like this. This Christmas ornament is really small. This figurine here is, less than an inch tall, maybe like 3/4 of an inch tall. And that little package is probably a 1/2 inch tall. And even in that tiny distance from the front to the back of this Christmas ornament, you can see how the back is already blurry. That's probably 1 inch deep total. And yet there's a huge difference in terms of overall focus between the what's in the front and what's in the back. I actually focused right on this the figure's eyes, and I used live view, zoomed way in to like 100% magnification, and manually focused right on that figure's eyes to get those sharp and in focus, and everything else is kind of blurred out. And I shot it at I think f3.2, which is the widest aperture my lens would go given how close I was focusing. And how I got those colors, though, was right behind me as I'm taking the photo. So if you can imagine the camera looking into this scene here, behind the camera is our Christmas tree. And I turned off all the lights and took a really long exposure. I think this was 8 seconds. So, okay, not really long, but I took a long exposure. And then even after that, the final product was still really dark. I had to lighten it like 2 or 3 stops in post. But on a D750, you get so much dynamic range at low ISO that you can do that. And the end result is this background that's made of reflecting the Christmas lights from the Christmas tree. And the Christmas lights are really dim. So you can imagine how little light is being reflected here, which is why I had to have such a long exposure. I like everything about this photo. I like the tiny little world that's captured here. I like the sparkles behind the figurine here. I like the reflection. If you look at the bottom, you can see the bottom of the ornament being reflected on the surface. I like the curve to the background colors. If you look, the bokeh is kind of football shaped, and the footballs change orientation from left to right, almost in like this bow pattern. It's just, everything came together on this photo, and I'm really happy with it. I wish I had a better story for the ornament. I don't actually remember whose ornament this is, if it's mine or my wife's or one of our kids. It's just an ornament from the tree. And I didn't even have this specific ornament in mind when I got my macro lens. I just knew that I wanted to take a close-up picture of a Christmas ornament, and this is what I ended up with. It's too late to take any more now. The tree is down, so we'll have to wait till next year. But it was such a fun photo to take, and I'm looking forward to taking more photos like this with maybe with Christmas ornaments next year too. Who knows?